I will never forget it. The first time I was prescribed birth control pills was in 1986. I was 24 years of age. It may seem like the right time for a young woman to be prescribed those things, but you see, I'm one of those transgender women that you read about on the internet that everybody's going crazy over. And there's not very many of us that survived from the 1970s because it was even more hostile than it is today. So please repost and touch all the bells and whistles to get our message out there. I'm leaving testimony. So on another geographical cure, I landed in Calgary in 1986. Leaving Vancouver and Expo 86 and a mattress that I was living on in this one-bedroom apartment because my life was getting smaller and smaller because I was also in the throes of my addiction to the diseases of more. And plus I'd been on the stroll since I was 15. Sure, I learned how to do it good. I had glucose daddies and all that stuff, you know, and lived in fancy places and stuff, but it's like there wasn't enough stuff to take to numb out how much I hated to do it, and that is a recipe for disaster. Because remember, back in those days, a lot of us girls had to work on the strolls and, you know, using our bidets, and we'd have to act like cisgender women because, you know, the whole trans schmex industry stuff really didn't exist. It was very niche, so it was very dangerous. That's why not many of us survived. So I was in Calgary, and I went to the supposed trans doctor there. And I told him that I'd been on stuff since I was like 17. That's when I was medically taking stuff. And he said, well, he says, what we're doing now is we're putting you women on the pill. And I kind of thought that was kind of weird, but I thought, well, I'm not a doctor. And he says, yes, he said, we want you to take the pill every day, but we also want you to cycle just like any other woman. And I was kind of thinking, like, why would I have to do that? I don't get it. I remember taking it for about 6 months and not feeling very well on them, and I actually stopped taking everything for a while, and some of my secondary characteristics started to kick in. I started to have to pluck faster than I used to. But luckily it was a short-lived stint in Calgary, and I ended up back into Vancouver a couple years later, and I got onto the right medications, the combos that you have to take. And then there was actually anti-testosterone back then, finally, that they were being given to us back in Western Canada. So I don't know if this guy was a quack. Let me know if any of you other girls were prescribed that back in the 80s, any of you survivors that follow me. Now, fast forward to 62, I'm not only am I on some ester gel, I'm also on a testosterone gel that I take every 3 days, just one little pump, because turns out we need that too. And that's tranny voodoo. Testosterone. But trust me, no side effects from it, and I feel a lot better.